What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today, you guys, with a brand new episode of Power Book 2 Ghost, guys, Season 3, Episode 9. And the episode is titled A Last Gift, you guys. So before we go ahead and get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's discuss Power Book 3 Ghost, shall we? All right, you guys, so this was a good episode for me, you guys. So I know that there are spoilers out there of episode 9 and 10. So for me, I didn't watch the spoilers, so this was my first time watching this week's episode, and I have not saw the spoiler for episode 10. So in the comment section, if you guys would please, let's not discuss episode 10. Now, I did see one particular scene, but I saw one scene from next week's finale. It was in the trailer for next week, and it also had leaked last week when somebody pulled up to the house and shot at Monet and Diana. But we'll see that. That was in the preview of this week's episode. So I'm fine with that. I don't know what the context of, well, I kind of feel like I know what the context of that is, but we'll get into it as we get into the review, you guys. So where should we start up today? Ooh, we're going to stay the Tejada family for last. So I think we'll start up with Ms. Effie, you guys. So you guys remember in the last episode that Effie had got roped up by the feds because they were arresting her for the attempted murder of, what's her name? What's the old girl's name? Lauren, right? So we see Jenny and Blanca, so they're talking to Effie, and Effie keeps saying, I want an attorney, 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 attorney. So they're like, okay, you'll get an attorney, but you're gonna have to wait until you get your turn on the phone. And she's like, okay, that's fine, right? So they've been holding Effie for hours with the expectation that Effie was gonna crack. And I was like, as much as I don't like Effie, I don't know why they felt that she would crack. Granted, we do know that Effie does have her own self-serving interests, right? We saw it plenty of times before, right? So Jenny, they got a text, her and Blanca got a text message, and they went down to the morgue where Sax was, right? And you guys, it still just doesn't feel right that Sax is dead. It don't feel right that he's dead, and it doesn't feel right that it's at the hands of Theo, Davis's brother. I would have preferred for it to be anybody over the years that we've gotten from Power. Davis, Tariq, the Tejadas, anybody but Davis's brother, someone that we just recently met. It just doesn't feel right. That I didn't get the gratification that I thought I would from Sax being killed by anybody. I didn't get that gratification, and I don't think I ever will. It's just not gonna ever sit right for me, right? So Jenny went down to the morgue, and Jenny wants to put on this whole waterworks situation, and I'm like, but Jenny, this is your fault. You're the one that took away his detail, his security. So you left him out there hanging. So we then see them all together. So they know that Theo was working by himself, right? But Jenny and Blanc, well, more specifically Blanca and Rodriguez, she feels like Davis, he had something to do with this too. It wasn't just his brother. It was just his brother, right? Because they got a surveillance camera of Theo getting Sax when he left the last time with Jenny, right? So they feel like Davis and Theo could have planned this. And they're also talking about the fact that they know that Sax was fed on that information, but they're thinking that Sax was fed the information from Diana because they wanted to get him, this situation with him and Theo. I was like, here's the thing. If Davis and Theo put this together, why would Davis get his brother out of prison to then set him and his brother to come up with this cockamamie scheme to take out Sax and take himself out? Why would we do that? What would be the logic in that? And I just kept sitting there thinking to myself, what's the logic in that? That makes no sense. That's stupid. Like, y'all really have got to be smarter or dumber than that, right? And so, Blanca is on about, I warned him. Okay, girl, you might have warned him, but yeah. So they know at this point, if they're unable to get Effie to flip, they're fucked. So we see Davis. So Davis went to go see Effie, and he told her what they're trying to charge her with, and if she, if they're successful, she's gonna get time. The only thing is, it's a matter of how much time, right? So she tells him, like, I'm not dealing with you. First of all, you reek of alcohol. And, she tells him, I have someone, I just can't get in contact with him because every time that I go for the phone, some other bitch goes for the phone, and he says, did the guard see it? She said, yes. He says, oh. He says, what they're doing is, they're doing that in hopes that they can make you cooperate with them, right? And she was like, is that illegal? He said, it's very much so legal. Is it frowned upon? Yes, right? So then we see Jenny. So Jenny is in her office with Blanca. And at first, I didn't understand what they were talking about because Blanca was talking about the interview surveillance. I was like, interview surveillance? But then after a while, I finally figured out what they were talking about. So they were talking about, so you guys remember when Saxe and Davis sat down with Diana, and when Davis spilled the coffee on Saxe to then get him out of the room, and he slid Diana that note about telling Saxe that it was Effie, right? So that's what they're talking about. But Jenny doesn't want to go that route because she feels like it's going to be a crapshoot, basically, right? So she then found a letter on her desk, and it was from Saxe. And in this episode, that was one of the biggest things. Saxe, before his untimely death, he wrote a lot of letters to people, right? And those letters were to be, handed out in the event of his death, right? But in his letter to Jenny, he basically told Jenny to let go of this feud, well, not feud, but let go of this vendetta with the Tejadas, Davis, Tariq, and everybody, right? But she said, fuck that. So we then see Jenny and Blanca, who went to go see Davis, and they're telling Davis, like, you need to talk to your client. We want to make a deal with her. He says she declined my help, right? So then they bring up the surveillance footage, right? And this was the point where I finally put two and two together what they were talking about. So now in a room where Diana, Saxe, and Davis were, there's no audio, so they can't hear what was being said, but they can see everything, right? So they saw Davis as he spilled the coffee on Saxe, and then they brought up the fact that he slid Diana a piece of paper, right? And Davis basically put it out very well, talking about harassment and everything, because they have nothing. Like, I mean, that could have been anything on that paper. So you're grasping at straws. And I think Jenny knew that. And, she was trying to blame Davis for Saxe's death. And I love the fact that Davis said, nah, man, if anybody's responsible for that man's death, that's on you. And it 100% is on Jenny. Jenny at this point just wants to find anyone that she can blame other than herself, because like I said a few minutes ago, Jenny, you're the one that took that man's detail off of him. If you had the detail on him, I don't think a scrappy thing like Theo Rollins would have got to him. Now, anybody else, I'm gonna name Tejada or Tommy Egan or a Ghost, any of them, they may have gone to Saxe, right? But Theo, absolutely not, right? We then see later in the episode, we saw Lucas. So I'll come back to Lucas in a little bit. But for this particular scene, you guys know, they're still trying to do this RICO case, right? So Lucas called them, and he's playing like he doesn't know anything about the stuff that's going on over there at Westing Holdings, right? And like I said, you guys, we'll discuss Westing Holdings in greater detail in just a few minutes. But he's basically telling them that he knows about the drug operation that was being ran over at Westing Holdings, and if they grant him, immunity and protection, he'll tell them everything they know. But then he tells them the first place that they should look into is Crash Coin. I was like, ooh, Lucas, you just signed your own death certificate, but hope it was worth it. I definitely hope it was worth it. So let's pause here and let's move forward, you guys. All right, you guys. So next up, I guess we'll go ahead and talk about the Tejadas, and then we'll wrap up with Tariq them. So we see that mean ass Monet, right? And remember, I told you guys earlier that Sachs, in the event of his death, he sent out letters to just about everybody, right? So Monet was in receipt of one of those letters, and in the letter, it told Monet that, Tariq has been working with the feds. And I was like, Tariq has been working with the feds. If that were the case, like that whole stuff that y'all did last week with Effie making her the scapegoat, Tariq would have already, like, why would, come on. Let's use some common sense, right? Monet didn't believe it, and I'm glad she didn't believe it. But Diana was like, "But Ma, I got roped up because of that stuff up there at Stansfield, and Tariq is the one that told me to put the drugs in the locker, and you're the dumbass that went up there and didn't check your surroundings. So, little girl, that is on you." Child, I just called her a dumbass, just like her mama do. But I'm not gonna disrespect Diana them just like Monet does, right? So Monet basically told Diana, go do what you got to do. Find out what you need to find out to determine if Tariq is in fact working with the feds. But I was like, again, how is he working with the feds? Like everything, and like if he's working with the feds, y'all would have been roped up by now. Tariq has been around for damn near not damn near, he's been around for every murder. He's helped cover some of them up. Like, if Tariq were working with the feds, Jabari, Ramirez, Dante, like the list goes on. So how is he working with the feds? Like, let's just ask that simple question. How is Tariq working with the feds, right? So we see Evelyn. So Evelyn went over to the bar to talk to Monet, and she was like, "Where's Drew?" And Monet was like, "I don't know where Drew is." She's like, "My Gordo is missing," and we know Gordo was swimming with the fishes. Unfortunately, rest in peace to Gordo, right? So Evelyn was like, "Did you see the video of Drew on YouTube?" And Monet was like, "Bitch, y'all don't like I got YouTube or something like that." And she said, "Cut the crap, bitch." I was like, "Oh, oh." I really want somebody to take that old wicked ass woman out. Like, you guys, I cannot stand Monet Tejada, right? So eventually Evelyn left because Kane walked in and Evelyn was like, "You know what? Another time." So she left. So then when she left, Drew was actually there. And so Monet was like, they're not going to stop until they find you. And so Drew was like, "Yeah, well, this is my mess to clean up, so I got to take them out." And Kane was like, "We got to take all of them out." I was like, oh my God, y'all gonna feel so stupid when y'all find out that everything that has been done is because of that bitch y'all call a mother in Monet Tejada. Monet is the one that took out your poppy, and she used Gordo to do it. And here's my thing when it comes to, again, like I said about Drew in the last review. Drew, you guys took out Uncle Frank, who was Gordo's father. So shouldn't it have been an eye for an eye? But no, Drew's overly emotional ass just gets on my damn nerves, right? So we see Kane and Drew. So they went over to the Castillo's place to basically take them all out. And did they do carbon monoxide poisoning? Because they poisoned them because they shut their business down, right? And they let the thing down, and Kane stuck stuff in there so that they couldn't get out of the doors. So then they closed off the vents. I was like, oh, y'all are trying to poison the hell out of these people, and that's exactly what they did, right? So they all start collapsing one by one, and so they finally opened up the door and put on gas masks themselves. So they went in there. All the boys were dead except for Evelyn. So Drew went up to Evelyn and, he apologized to Evelyn. And Evelyn let him know, like, you doing all of this, it was your mama who wanted your daddy dead. I was like, finally, somebody spilled the beans on that wicked ass woman. So, next up, we see Diana. Diana went to go see Tariq, and she wants to know, like, Tariq, why did you tell me to use those lockers? He said, you came to me and I gave you a solution. Exactly. It is not Tariq's fault that, here's my thing. Even if Tariq told her to go use the lockers, you're trying to hide drugs. You know that Stansfield was hot because of Braden and Tariq. Why would you not say, you know what? Let me look around and see what I can see. Even Effie, who went up there to that locker, Effie just happened to walk up to the locker and she saw it and she left. You didn't even scope out the area, little girl. So don't blame Tariq. And so she was like, so you're not working with the feds. And Tariq was like, the fuck? You think I'm working with the feds? Like, Diana, all this shit that's happened, and you think I'm working with the feds? I was like, exactly. So Tariq got a phone call from RSJ. And we'll talk about that phone call from RSJ in just a little bit, you guys, right? So Tariq eventually left his room, and so Diana snuck back into the room, and she was looking through his stuff, and then she found this file, and it is Whitman's file, and I'll explain Whitman's file to you guys a little bit later as well, right? So she read the file, and she finally found out about the things that happened. So she was talking to Drew about the fact that, Lorenzo's fingerprints were at the scene where Zeke was killed, right? And so Drew was kind of wondering, like, why would Poppy's fingerprints be there? And they were starting to put two and two together, right? So he was like, what if Poppy accidentally took out, Zeke, right? So then Kane came in, and Kane told them that, yeah, Monet didn't believe him when, Lorenzo said that it was the, the guaps that took him out, right? And so that's when Drew was like, wait a minute, so that's why Poppy was letting you run things? Absolutely. That's exactly why Poppy was letting him run things, because your brother had put two and two together that your father had taken out Zeke, right? So then we see them as they went to go confront that mean ass Monet. And when I tell you guys, that is the most disrespectful bitch I ever saw in my life. That bitch is disrespectful. She called Diana a bitch. She told Diana to shut the fuck up. At one point, she slapped the fuck out of Drew because Drew was trying to get in between her and Diana. She said, no, Drew, let the bitch go. Let the bitch go, Drew. I was like, this is your daughter that you are calling your daughter a bitch. Like, you're upset with these kids because you took out their father. Lady, you're evil and you're crazy. You disrespect the fuck out of Kane. You call Kane every bit a dumbass. You told Diana she's a dumbass, and the fact that her daddy didn't send her to Stansfield because he loved her and he didn't trust her nosy ass. I was like, oh wow. I mean, she just went down the line of her kids. I'm like, damn. And then she told him at one point, I don't need y'all motherfuckers. I was like, I think you do. Because without them, who do you have? You have nothing, lady. Like, who do you have, you dumbass? Oh, Jesus. Lord, please let them. Now, that is one character that I can do without. I love Mary, right? I love me some Mary J. Blige. Love her. But that bitch Monet, that hoe can go. That hoe can go. Like, legitimately, she can go, right? So then we later see Kane. So Kane went down to the jail to see Effie. So Kane is wanting Effie to flip on Tariq. And she told him she's not doing that her lawyer's coming and that he needs to go. Now, see, here's my thing with Kane. Again, Kane is all about self as well. Kane is all about self, and Kane also is very reckless and irresponsible. And I'm actually glad that Effie did not listen to what Kane said, because I mean, anything that Kane tells you to do, you should do the opposite, right? Because Kane doesn't literally think things through. Because here's the thing. Yes, the feds do want Tariq, but they don't just want Tariq Kane. They want all of you. They want you. They want your mama. They want your brother. They want your sister. They want your entire family. They want to know where the drugs are coming from. And they know that it's not Tariq. So they know that your mother and your family has a hand in this. So taking Tariq down doesn't alleviate any of your problems. Taking Tariq out would exacerbate your problems. So to take Tariq out, I mean, he's kind of the brains of y'all. He's the brains behind a lot of the stuff that y'all do. So taking him out, you guys would be shitless, and then you guys still have to deal with Noma. So I don't think, again, so I'm really glad that she didn't listen to what Kane said, but that's neither here nor there, you guys. We're going to pause here and wrap up this episode, you guys. All right, you guys. So we see Tariq, and now this is the beginning of the episode. We saw Tariq, so he went to Saxon Davis's office, and he was more specifically in Sax's office and going through some of Sax's things. And, you know, he's still thinking about the fact that Sax told him in that voicemail that he knows where Tasha and Yaz are, right? And so Kane was trying to reach Davis to get help with this Effie situation. So Kane and Tariq saw each other, and Tariq asked Kane, "What the fuck you doing here, right?" And, you know, he says they actually at one point got into a fight with each other, right? Because, you know, Tariq is talking about how Kane is so obsessed with him. And Kane did bring up the fact about Effie getting picked up by the feds because of Lauren. And Kane felt that Tariq had set this up. And Tariq was like, "Why would I set this shit up, right?" He says, "Because you think you T'Challa, but you let pussy get in the way of what needs to be done." I was like, okay, I mean, I guess if that's what you want to say. So Tariq says, "Well, all this shit is happening is because of your dumb ass." And Kane was like, "Well, all this shit is happening is because you came into my family's life." And everything that they're saying is true to each other, right? But here's the thing. Kane, you are very envious of this boy. You have had a hard on for Tariq since you first met the boy. And you've done everything to spite him. So, yeah. So they got into a fight with each other, right? And Davis came in. He broke up the fight. So Kane left, and it was just Tariq and Davis. So Davis told Tariq, well, Tariq thanked Davis for getting him out of there right before the cops showed up. And Davis told Tariq that the feds know that it was, Theo working by himself, and that there's nothing going to come back to both he and Tariq, right? So Davis asked him if he found Tasha. He said no. So Davis feels like, well, when it comes to Sax, maybe that motherfucker was just doing that to just kind of buy him some time, right? Or save his life. I was like, I do believe that he was, doing that as a last ditch effort to try to stick around like the cockroach that he was, right? But at the same time, like I said in the last review, I definitely did believe that he knew where Tasha was. So now we move on, and Tariq shows Davis a picture, and he said, well, he was talking about a picture that he found, right? And he said it was a file of Whitman's. And so Davis was like, "Did it look like this file?" He said, "Yeah, it's exactly that file." And so he's talking about, yeah, that's the file. Basically, it was a file, that file that Davis got from Monet. So he had a copy of it for leverage against that murderous ass Monet Tejada. And I was like, good one, Davis. I like it. So we see Braden. So Braden was meeting up with Kane, right? Kane drove down this dirt road and bust the shit out of Braden with the door. I'm like, damn. So he asking him if he knew that Lauren was live, and he's like, "What the fuck are you talking about, Kane?" He says Effie got roped up by the feds, and Lauren ID'd her. He was like, "I don't know nothing about this," and I'm like, Kane, he really don't know nothing about this. Like, why do you think he knows? Now I get why you would think that Tariq would know, but why would you think Braden would know? But okay, I mean, never mind. So we see Braden. So Braden went to the hospital, and Tariq came to check on him, right? And Braden told Tariq what happened between he and Kane, And, you know, Braden is upset with Tariq about the whole crash coin thing and the feds. And Tariq was like, but it needed to be done. I was like, as I have to agree with Tariq, that did need to be done because the feds were coming down on you guys. So y'all had to do something. So I agree with Tariq, right? So Tariq was like, well, you need to go back to Western Holdings and deal with your Uncle Lucas, right? So they left the room, and Tariq called up Lauren. She was texting him. She actually was texting him, but then she ignored the phone call. I was like, what was the purpose in trying to text him and then ignoring the phone call? But okay. So Tariq is leaving to go talk to Obi, who was snatching a man's teeth. I was like, oh my God. Like I winced every time I saw that man pull out his teeth. So Tariq is trying to buy some time before, talking to Noma about, the operation. So he was able to find out that Obi is trying to get his family some green cards. So he was like, okay, I'll get the green cards. So he said, you got 72 hours. So bought him a little bit of time. So we see Tariq, and Tariq went to go talk to Tate about this, right? And Tate says, you know what? I'll help you, little nigga, but I need more from you. So he was like, I'm already paying you 5 bands a week. What more do you need? I was like, Tariq, we are talking about that slimy ass Rashad Tate. He needs any. I mean, that man would take your firstborn child if you offered it to him, right? So you guys remember in the last episode that Harper got mad at Tate because he was going to be working with Weston Holdings, right? So he's asking him, is Weston Holdings on the up and up? And Tariq was like, it is. So Tariq eventually left, and he called him a lying motherfucker. So he called up Harper, who was able to link him up with this guy who was telling, Tate that when it comes to Weston Holdings, he had been looking into it, and there were just a lot of things with Weston Holdings that just weren't adding up. So they were like, he's tried to turn it into the SEC or anybody, but nobody will look at it. And that's because they're paying somebody, the greenbacks, to keep it quiet, right? And that was old boy that, was actually, I think, running against him last season. So we see Braden, and he went to go to Weston Holdings. As he got to Weston Holdings was being raided by the feds. So turns out that Tate and that guy actually turned over the evidence to the SEC, and now they're getting raided. Come to find out, no one has saw Lucas. Lucas has left, leaving, Kiki and the likes in the dark, right? So Braden defended Kiki, saying that, Kiki knew absolutely nothing about this, even though she did, right? So then we see Tariq and Braden later, and they were talking. And, Tariq is telling Braden, like, at this point, we're going to have to take out your uncle. And, Braden is like, don't really want to do that, right? And Tariq was like, why, man? Like, you said we're family, but that's his blood. And, he was like, he doesn't want to turn into Tariq because he's not the same person that he met when they were at Choke. I was like, you're actually right about that. Tariq is not the same person. No, actually he is. To you, he's not the same person, but to us, he is. Only thing is, he's just a little bit more murderous than he was when he was at Choke. But when he was at Choke, he was this little asshole. So, Tariq told him to find Lucas and get it done. I was like, oh, okay. So then we see the Westons as they were fighting with each other, and at one point, the feds came to get Braden's dad to go down to the station and talk. So then we see Braden. So Braden went to go talk to his uncle Lucas to basically try to save, everybody except for Lucas. He wants Lucas to be the sole person who goes down for this, right? So Tariq was talking to RSJ, and RSJ told Tariq that it was Tate who blew the whistle on the Westons, right? So we saw Tariq. So Tariq followed Braden to Uncle Lucas's place, and this is where he was trying to get him to sign the documents to, say that he was the one that did all of this stuff, right? And Braden and Uncle Lucas got into it with each other, right? Because Uncle Lucas is like, he's gonna pin it all on Tariq and you for the drugs, and Robert, his brother, and Kiki for the Ponzi scheme, right? And Braden pushed that motherfucker over the balcony. I was like, oh damn. I heard him I saw him when he went over, and I heard him hit something. I was like, damn, what did he hit? I think he hit the side of the building, and then, blap, he went splat on top of a car. I was like, ooh, well, good luck, Braden, because I don't know if you're gonna not be turning to your daddy. I mean, not your daddy, but your friend Tariq over there, because you killed family, and Tariq killed his dad. Although he doesn't want to say it, but everyone knows it. So, Tariq, we see him as he got out of his car, and 2-Bit pulled up. I was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? We got 2-Bit. We had 2-Bit pull up, and who else? So 2-Bit pulled up because Sax wrote 2-Bit a note, and Sax gave the location of Tasha. And so 2-Bit was like, okay, little nigga, you gonna pay me for this information that I got, right? So he took Tariq's car, and Tariq took his car. So Tariq called Tamika to be like, hey, somebody might be after my mom because her information might have been leaked, right? So, Tamika was like, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. He's like, nah, you need to do it tonight. So we see as Tariq is watching from afar, and Yaz spotted him, but Tasha and Big Mama didn't see him, right? So he noticed a car coming up, and when I heard the exhaust, I was like, that ain't nobody but motherfucking Tommy. And that's exactly who the fuck it was, right? So Tommy pulled up to the house with a silencer. He took out the security that was guarding Tasha. He went inside and, he pulled a gun on Tasha. And Tasha was like, Tommy, we're family. I was like, girl, no, you ain't talking about family. Tasha, you talking about family. You took out Keisha. Granted, Keisha needed to be gone, right? And your son took out Ghost, his brother. So what family you talking about? And then y'all were gonna throw him under the bus. So, girl, fuck the family. Literally, fuck the family, right? So Tariq came in, pulled a gun on Tommy, and was like, Uncle Tommy, I love you, but I will shoot you to protect my mother, right? And so they were trying to figure out, like, Tommy, how did you even find out where she was? Well, guess who told him? Monet Tejada. I was like, ooh, okay, bitch. I see you. I don't know how this helped you, but okay, girlfriend. So, somebody knocked Tariq out, and I don't know who it was. Because at one point, Tasha was behind Tariq, right? So he got knocked out, and then he came to in the hospital, and Tamika was there telling him somebody had knocked him out, and whoever came for Tasha kidnapped Tasha because she's missing. I was like, that don't make any sense. That made no sense to me. Again, I haven't saw episode 10, so I'm pretty sure it's going to play out in next week's episode, but I was like, that doesn't add up to me. So somebody knocked Tariq out. Tommy showed up and didn't kill Tasha. Huh? But yeah, you guys, that's the episode. Let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comment section below. Please subscribe to the channel, you guys. Turn on your post notifications and share the video. And until the next time, you guys, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be blessed. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.